What is up, YouTube? James Baek here. Welcome back to another episode of VGC 17 Back Battles. Today we are using Ralph Dude's third place in the world's team with Tapu, Koko, Salamence, Snorlax, Persian, Marowak, and Celesteela. So let's just get straight into it. But this should be pretty, should be a pretty good day. I'm actually, the day I'm recording this, which is probably, I'm already at the place, but I probably have left for Florida Regionals. I'm leaving tomorrow, which is when this is recorded. As I said, I'm trying to pre-record as many videos as possible, as we already have our first opponent, which is very nice. 1531, rated player from Australia, with a team of Salamence, Metagross, Kartana, Hariyama, Politoed, and Tapu Koko. So this is actually a very interesting team, and I kind of actually like the look of it, to be honest. So most likely, you have to assume a Boldo's weakness policy, and it looks like the team is kind of centered around Metagross. It looks like it's kind of like set up with Metagross and sweep sort of team. So Persian's great at that because of the fact that I can, knock out Metagross after it gets its +2 with foul play. Persian's also just really good in general against my opponent's team. Tapu Koko also does a lot of work. Like my own Tapu Koko just does so much work against my opponent's team. Yeah, there are a lot of Pokemon that can put into work. Salamence could potentially do... Yeah, Salamence could do a nice job. If it is AV Salamence, though, I do have to watch it for, like, Draco Meteors and stuff. Kartana's not really that useful. The Pokemon I don't want to bring, Snorlax isn't really too helpful in this matchup. If I could belly drum up, maybe, like, I could quash stuff. But I don't really like Kartana plus Hariyama plus Politoed that could carry Haze, Encore, etc. Celesteela is probably not that great unless it's a defensive switching, but I don't feel like I want to go that route. I think I want to go Persian combined with Salamence I think is fine. Marowak and Tapu Koko in the back is okay here, because I don't expect a Politoed lead. Like, I wouldn't expect a Politoed lead. And I would like to keep Tapu Koko in the back, as a late game sweeper for that Politoed. Of course, it is going to be a bit interesting because of the fact I am bringing Marowak, so potentially that could harm me in some ways, but I think Marowak is pretty good in this matchup because my opponent's Tapu Koko is just a huge factor in this game. So I'm going to lead Persian Salamence right here. Let's see what my opponent is going to lead. It's going to be the Kartana plus Hariyama. So this is actually probably the best potential lead I could have asked for, because right now I have Intimidate onto both of these physical type attackers. I have Fake Out Pressure. My opponent also has Fake Out Pressure, but I am threatening a knockout onto that Hariyama. So this is looking really good here, because I could probably just Fake Out, and I could just Dragon Dance up, to be completely honest. Like, there's no reason not for me to Dragon Dance. Yet, I could also just go for the Z Fly right here into the Hariyama and try to pick up a knockout if my opponent doesn't fake out the Salamence slot, instead tries to go for like a close combat or something. So I think I will go for the Z Fly into the Hariyama, since most Hariyamas don't carry something such as a Protect. So we're going to see the Politoed switching, which is completely fine, because it looks like Marowak is going to have some pretty good room in this game once I start weakening my opponent's Pokemon. And I did fake out the Kartana, so basically all I did was just get free damage on the Politoed. Could have got Dragon Dance up, which was a bit unfortunate, but I did not mind getting all this damage on Politoed. Politoed can take all this damage. Like, let's see how much we're going to do. I don't think this is going to KO, because Politoeds usually are invested in bulk. And since my opponent does have Intimidate on the team, so maybe it's especially defensive Politoed. It could be physically defensive as well, but I'm pretty sure it should be able to live the Super Silent Sky Shock, even if we're adamant. Z-Fly isn't exactly the strongest Z move in the game. Yeah, as we actually barely missed out to knockout on Politoed, so Dragon Dance there would have been probably the play here, but doesn't seem too bad. The problem is I can't really switch into Scalds here. Like, I can't really switch into Scalds at all. So Earthquake plus Foul Play I think won't be able to knock out the Politoed, yet I'm not exactly too confident on that calc. Like, I really am not too confident in that calc, so I think I'm just going to protect Foul Play just to see how much Foul Play does. If it puts in Earthquake range, that's great, but I really just want to see how much damage Foul Play could potentially do to this Politoed. I don't have a Scald switch in, and I don't want to take an Ice Beam this turn if it does survive. Yeah, I think Foul Play plus Earthquake should be able to pick up the knockout the following turn. Sacred Sword's going to go into Persian with a Fur Coat ability. I'm going to be able to eat that up, and there is my opponent's Ice Beam. So Ice Beam's definitely a big factor here. Scald is still like a really threatening move my opponent can go for. I think what I want to do is Parting Shot the Kartana, and I could switch out to Salamence, go to Marowak. I could fly potentially, but I don't think flying is the play here. I think going on to Marowak is fine because I'll be able to take the Ice Beam, and then I can Parting Shot onto my Salamence, get the Intimidate off once again into the Kartana slot, which wouldn't be too bad. But I would have actually preferred to fly, I think, to be honest there. Because I could just Parting Shot into Marowak, but I don't want to take a Scald in that slot. Like, if anything gets burned, I'd rather it be my Salamence. But actually, I'm going to go hard into Tapu Koko. Like, yes, Scald could come out. That would be very problematic if Scald comes out. But, I don't know. Like, Sacred Sword seems like a 2-hit KO, so my opponent might just go for it. Let's see what my opponent is going to go for. Sacred Sword is again going to go out into Tapu Koko, and Ice Beam or Scald? It's going to be Ice Beam once again, so that's basically the best thing I could have asked for here. As, let's see, no freeze, thankfully. And right here, I'm not sure my opponent will expect like a discharge or something. Of course, I can't go attack with an electric type move, but Marowak's out on the field. So I do want to switch out my Marowak, and I think the Salamence is the play here. Or I could go on to Persian. Like, Persian's also a very fair play as well, I think. I think I do want to Volt Switch to Politoed here, and I will switch out into Persian. Just because the fact that I could Volt Switch into my Salamence on a Leaf Blade potentially if Politoed decides to stay in or switch out and doesn't protect here, but Kartana's actually going to detect. So this could be something that's really good for me here, as I will be able to get a Volt Switch off into that Politoed. So Politoed is going to go down this turn. Great, 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 great. We get rid of Politoed. That is one big threat out of the way, and Rain will no longer be on the battlefield and cannot be reset. So I'm going to Marowak because I want to keep my Salamance's Intimidate for later in the game, because Salamance's Intimidate is pretty crucial for that Hariyama specifically that could come in, and I could probably just fake out and get a Shadow Bone. Like, I don't see a reason not to. I don't know what my opponent's last Pokemon is. Maybe it's the Salamence in the back. With the Intimidate and the Assault Vest, I could definitely see that being a threat. I just don't know. Hariyama's going to come in, so this is looking fine. I could probably just Shadow Bone. Like, definitely my opponent's not going to be able to KO my Persian with a -2 Kartana, and it will actually activate my Berry. So I'm just going to fake out and Shadow Bone right here, which I think is the play. It could be a Assault Vest Hariyama, so I could go for a Will-O-Wisp because they usually run Thick Fat. But on the rain team, I'm not sure if you run Thick Fat, so it could be something like, I don't know. But we're going to see the Tapu Koko come out, which is fine here because I get free damage onto the Hariyama. Like, fake out plus Shadow Bone here is really, really clutch here. So let's see what my opponent's going to do. Yeah, that Shadow Bone damage is crucial. I also get the defense drop. Rain stops, which is good in case it has Thunder. It's actually Guts. I'm glad I didn't go for Will-O-Wisp right there. And Persian's job is looking pretty much over. I really don't need Persian. I'd rather get a free switch into my own Tapu Koko. So I'm pretty sure Dazzling Gleam knockoff is going to come out here. The play here is the Parting Shot the Tapu Koko and go out and just protect here, because I want to get Tapu Koko and Marowak next to each other so I can threaten KOs with Flare Blitz plus Dazzling Gleam, because that's probably what's going to be able to win me this game. So Marowak will protect here as Hariyama reveals a Wide Guard. Interesting why you reveal it this turn. I'm honestly like really curious on why my opponent went for Wide Guard. Earthquake? Rock Slide? I don't know. Like, Marowak doesn't usually carry any of those. But Persian is going to go down, so yeah, I don't understand the Wide Guard, but that usually means it doesn't carry Feint or it doesn't carry Knockoff. So either way, all factors that are helping me in this game. And I can go into my Tapu Koko. Again, Flare Blitz should be able to pick up the knockout on Tapu Koko. If Hariyama wants to stay in, keep going for Wide Guard, that's completely fine. I can get a knockout onto Tapu Koko slot at this rate. So I'll go for, well, I guess there might be one way my opponent can come out of this, and that's Hariyama going for, what if Hariyama switches on the Kartana and Tapu Koko protects? But then again, my opponent can't threaten a knockout. I doubt it's AV Kartana. We saw Kartana detect earlier, so yeah, it's not AV. It shouldn't be carrying Night Slash. I don't see a way my opponent can really win with that. Let's see if the Hariyama switches out or not. but it's actually going to go for Faint instead, which I am completely okay with. That does a lot, actually. But then again, I don't think I have the Hariyama intimidated. I get the Dazzling Gleam off in the Hariyama, which will be able to pick up the knockout. And at this rate, this Koko is going down, unless it's the Sky Drop or HP Fire. It is going to be the Sky Drop, actually, and targeting down my own Tapu Koko, which is okay here. Like, yes, you got that. Yeah, I don't see what you do with Kartana that can seal up the game. Night Slash, but we saw a Sacred Sword, we saw a Detect. I don't think we ever saw the Grass move, and Leaf Blade, and I don't think we ever saw like a another move. So I'm gonna just Flare Blitz the. Well, I could Shadow Bone potentially. Actually, no. Shadow Boning the Tapu Koko is safe in case Kartana decides to rally and protect. I am kind of expecting my opponent just to go for the attacks right here. If my opponent just wasted time going for Sky Drop, and yeah, my opponent does do this. And I'd rather get rid of Tapu Koko because I think Salamence can 1v1 the Kartana depending on its set. It's a Life Orb Sky Drop Tapu Koko, which is interesting. I didn't realize that. Smart Strike is going to come out in my Tapu Koko. Yeah, that will probably pick up the KO, yeah. But that's okay. I'm guessing that's... Smart Strike usually indicates AV, not AV. Well, it can signal AV. Usually it signals Scarf, AV, or Focus Sash. Since we didn't see any of the items, and it's definitely not a choice locked item because it did switch up moves earlier. It's not AV since it used Detect. I would assume it's Focus Sash. So what I can do here is just... I think I could just Flare Blitz Dragon Dance, to be honest, because Kartana and neutral is not going to be able to knock out Salamence. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be able to win the game by clicking Flare Blitz and Dragon Dance into an Earthquake. So let's see what my opponent goes for. HP Ice, Bloom Doom, All Out Pummeling. It's actually Bloom Doom, so okay, so it's a Z move instead, so that's interesting. See, usually Bloom Doom, Gracium Z, Kartana usually run Substitute. But this one's running Smart Strike, which is quite interesting. So we're going to see the Bloom Doom come out, but it's not going to be able to pick up a knockout on either one of my Pokemon. I guess my opponent's hoping for the Marowak crit, which I guess could be potential. I don't think a crit will knock me. Oh, it does actually. Crit does knock me out, huh? So crit does knock me out, which is, you know, a bit annoying. This could make the game tricky if Smart Strike does get a crit. Wait, was that a crit Bloom Doom? I'm pretty sure it was. I think it has to be. Like, why would Marowak go down to a Bloom Doom? And this Kartana was at -1? No, it was at neutral. Okay. So I go for Earthquake here. Yeah, I just go for Earthquake. I want to see if it's a 2 KO. If not, I could just go for Fly. And even if my opponent probably has to go for a Fly Miss because Detect has less PP than Fly. So let's see how much Earthquake does here. Is it a solid 2 KO? It is definitely a solid 2 KO. And now it depends on if Smart Strike crits or not. So let's see. Nice, nice. Wow, that really came close to picking up the knockout. But luckily, Smart Strike isn't that powerful in attack. So we are going to be able to pick up a very nice win. Very nice. The Bloom Doom crit could have been scary because I wasn't exactly sure of my Earthquake calcs. Detect here just to stall out the game. I see you, but yeah, this game's definitely over. Unless, well, no, you can't be Quick Claw. You had Bloom Doom. Yeah, so that crit could have been scary because I thought maybe Salamance's Earthquake would honestly be a 3 KO or potentially a roll for a 2 KO. But then again, I realized, oh wait, this isn't spread. This is single target. So, you know, single target Earthquake is just able to pick up the knockout on Kartana. And yeah, if my opponent didn't crit, like Flare Blitz would have, like Marowak would have survived the Bloom Doom. Flare Blitz would have gone off, been able to pick up the knockout onto the Kartana, and we would have won the game. Actually, was that a crit? I'm very confident it was a Bloom Doom crit. Although I wasn't really paying attention to the text. I really gotta stop doing that, but nice. We get a very strong game. Like, I think turns that I kind of made a few risks were Tapu Koko Marowak when Politoed was being stared down and I went for the switch out and Volt Switch. Could have went very differently if Kartana did something else or if Politoed protected. If it switched out, it didn't really matter in this case. But I'm actually kind of surprised my opponent didn't go for like a Salamence or a Metagross combination. But then again, I could see because of Celesteela plus Persian, it makes the game very, very annoying for you. Although I think Salamence could have been a decent pick there because of the Intimidate factor, the ability to hit my own Salamence for the knockout. ability to have some speed control, hit Marowak for decent damage, as well as Celesteela with Flamethrower. So I don't think it would have been a bad option. Yeah. Like, out of 4 Pokemon, I was kind of expecting maybe Salamence. I was expecting probably, like, Politoed, Salamence. I wasn't really expecting Kartana. Or maybe late game Kartana? Actually, what was I really expecting? I was expecting... Okay, I see Kartana. You bring it for the... Snorlax. And also, potentially Persian? I don't know. You definitely bring Politoed for the Marowak and Perish Song in case Celesteela late endgame can get a bit tricky. I think it was Salamence I was expecting, and yeah, I don't remember. I think I was expecting, yeah, it was either Metagross or Kartana I think I was expecting. Even for the United Kingdom, 1588 rating will be our next opponent today. Bring a team of Persian, Kartana, Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, and Garchomp. So this team is very, very scary. I don't know how I exactly want to handle this, to be completely honest. Could be Z Nature's power on Tapu Koko. Persian's definitely a threat to this team. Like, this team doesn't really like facing opposing Persians. I don't have Flamethrower either, which could kind of sting. Calm Mind Fini can also, you know, run a train. Yeah, so I have to find myself, like, put myself in a position where I'm not exactly threatened. Well, I'm guessing, usually on these compositions, it's usually like Scarf, Kartana, and you have Z-Move on the Garchomp. So I would kind of expect it on this kind of team. Or maybe Z-Move on Koko. Maybe double Z-Move. I think Tapu Koko is fine here. Man, there's so many Pokemon I want to bring. I think Marowak has to be brought here because of the fact that Tapu Koko is a struggle. Like, it's always a struggle. We're always struggling out here. I think I actually don't bring Persian here. As much as I would love to bring Persian, I don't feel like I can bring it, to be honest. I think Salamence and Marowak are necessary. I kind of think it was Celesteela could have been decent too. Like, I just don't know this matchup. Like, there's so many potential options I could have led. Just didn't have enough time because of the fact I'm not familiar with this. It could have been like, I don't know, I could have brought off any of my Pokemon, like any combination, to be honest. Just depending on how I want to decide how I want to anticipate this. But I think I want to go like a Snorlax sweep. Potentially I have to get rid of Kartana and Persian. It's going to be Tapu Fini and the Persian leading out. So I don't know if this is Specs Tapu Fini. Like, I don't have switch into Specs Tapu Fini, which is a bit problematic. Yeah, so Specs Tapu Fini, definitely a problem. Definitely a problem. I'm gonna go for Electro Ball and a Facade right here because I'm pretty sure Fake Out's just gonna go in the Tapu Koko, and a Muddy Water / Moonblast is gonna come out from the Tapu Fini. Could be the Calm Mind, but at least I get to chip damage with Snorlax. I do have to get rid of Persian though. Like, Persian is definitely a threat. Actually, what I could have done, I think what I could have done was Sky Drop the Persian, because if my opponent goes for Fake Out on Tapu Koko, yeah, I should have belly jumped right here because I could Sky Drop the Persian the following turn. Oh, it's Soak. Huh. Okay, so it's most likely a defensive Tapu Fini then. I do get some Facade damage off into the Fini, and I don't have to worry about like Calm Mind or Specs. That Facade really doesn't do anything. Huh. It really didn't do anything after. So I'm pretty sure my opponent might have Tapu Koko or something in the back. I think Gleam because I need to 2-hit KO Persian, because Persian is definitely a big threat to my team. And I kind of do want to switch out my Snorlax, but the fact is, no matter what, like, Fini is threatening some pretty heavy damage right here, so I think the best play is just to Facade the Tapu Fini slap, because I'm pretty sure my opponent's going to go for like a Parting Shot, maybe a Taunt, but Dazzling Gleam does a lot of damage to Persian. Wow. Parting Shot is going to come out, and luckily we didn't put Persian in range of a potential berry. It's going to be Parting Shot into the Snorlax. Okay. So Tapu Koko is still looking very dangerous here, as let's see what my opponent is going to bring out. And I'm pretty sure my opponent's just going to fire off an attack. It's going to be Tapu Koko, so I don't know what my opponent's going to do, but let's see if it's Muddy Water Skull. That could influence whether I want to switch into Marowak or not. It's going to be Moonblast actually coming out, and I'm pretty sure that's Tapu Koko. Yeah. That's in my Tapu Koko. Does some pretty good damage. I wish I kind of went for Facade into the Tapu Koko, yet it's not too bad. I think what I could do here is just go out into my Marowak here, and I could belly drum up. Actually, I could just high horsepower since I'm not, well, I am -1. Man, I should have high horsepower at the top of Koko slot, which was something I was thinking of, but I was more worried about Kartana's. But then I got high horsepower when I pick up the knockout onto top of Koko. I don't want to belly jump up ever, because that just invites Persian. And yes, there is a Muddy Water that could potentially be coming out, but I don't want to take the Gleam or a Thunderbolt here. We're going to see a Tapu Fini withdraw, which is okay here, and it's going to be Arcanine coming out. So no Kartana, that's actually a really huge relief. Like, not seeing that Pokemon is very nice here, not gonna lie. As let's see, it's gonna be a Dazzling Gleam, so it's not gonna be doing too much damage coming out to my team. And with that Silk, I actually resist Flare Blitz from like the Arcanine, which is actually pretty cool. So I will be able to get a high horsepower off, and it will go and target down the Tapu Koko. That does nothing because of the fact we're at -2, so I might want to switch out later. But I don't want to switch in Salamence now. I could. Intimidate is very, very nice against my opponent's team, but I definitely don't want to do that yet, due to the fact that my opponent has like a switch into Persian, which would be devastating, and the fact my opponent could go for Dazzling Gleam right here. So I kind of want to just double up the Tapu Koko slot with Flare Blitz high horsepower. Even if Tapu Koko protects, like Arcanine can't really do too much damage no matter what. And Arcanine's going to be the one switching out, and it's going to be the Tapu Fini coming in once again. So I wonder if Tapu Koko did protect here, or if we went on the offense. I could have Shadow Boned the Tapu Fini slot, but I think we're okay in the position. Yeah, we're okay in the position. I could have Belly Drum too. Maybe I do want to Belly Drum. Like, I want to Flare Blitz the Tapu Koko because I want to scare. I don't want Persian like getting in for its berry. I really don't want that happening here. And what I can do here is just protect Marowak here, and I think set up the Belly Drum. Like, what's really preventing me from setting up a Belly Drum now? I can get to +6. I can probably pick up the knockout on Tapu Fini afterward. But Tapu Koko is going to switch out an Arcanine once again, which was something I was considering my opponent doing because of the fact you get more Intimidates. So Snorlax isn't really doing anything. But once I get this Belly Drum out, my opponent might be in a bit of trouble. So I will get my Marowak to protect here. Let's see what my opponent goes for. It's going to be the Muddy Water here. So it's not going to be doing much damage at all to my Snorlax. I wanted this Fini has Haze, but if it has to go for Haze, I don't know if it does have Haze. Like, Soak Haze is kind of a strange set. Accuracy drop does hurt a bit, as Belly Drum will come out. And now I'll be able to return the, Facade, the Tapu Fini slot. And I'm pretty sure with the chip damage, I should be able to knock it out with +6. Although we are in Stab Factor, which could hurt. I'm just going to switch out my Marowak here, though. If Muddy Water is the move my opponent's going to be going for, Salamence is very safe, and I do want to keep my Marowak around to help against the Tapu Koko on my opponent's side. And I get the Intimidate off into this Arcanine, which is, you know, always helpful. Like, free damage is always helpful. I wonder if it's helping out Muddy Water that could be coming out from my opponent. I'm just hoping I don't miss the Facade, man. Muddy Water is going to come out. Just don't miss Facade, Snorlax, please. Well, I guess it's not the end of the world if you miss Facade, because I can Dragon Dance up and have my Z move. I do connect, and it looks like it's Roar coming out from my opponent. So this works out in my favor. I get a crit on top of Fini. Don't know if that mattered, of course. I think it might have, depending on if it's like a very physically defensive Fini. But with my opponent, how he's been playing this defensive with Arcanine, I'm not exactly too sure. So Tapu Koko does get dragged out here. And yeah, this is looking very, very solid right here. I just got rid of Tapu Fini. Marowak is looking very good. If I can get it next to my Scarf Tapu Koko, we're going to see the Persian come out, which is an interesting slot here. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting slot. I think I can just Dragon Dance up, though. I don't know. I think this might be a mistake for my opponent. I can Dragon Dance up and Volt Switch, because I either get the Dragon Dance up, which allows +1 Earthquake to pretty much sweep my opponent's team, or I Volt Switch into Persian, and that's one threat to my Marowak out of the way. So Fake Out's going to go out into Mens here, as I do get the Volt Switch off into the Persian slot. That does pick up the Knockout here, and I just get a free switching. And I had Snorlax and Marowak in the back. I don't want Marowak to take a Flare Blitz. Although it might be okay. Like, I'm trying to think, how much does Flare Blitz do? I mean, it's -1 Flare Blitz. I shouldn't be... Actually, yeah, it's -1 Flare Blitz. It shouldn't really be doing too much. And Snorlax can potentially just take the attacks from my opponent anyway. So I'm just going to go on to my Marowak here. As Flare Blitz does come out, and it's probably targeting now my Tapu Koko slot, I would imagine. Yep. So that doesn't do anything. I think my opponent needs some crits in order to win this game now. So this is looking really good. I pretty much can just Shadow Bone here. yeah, I can pretty much just Shadow Bone the Tapu Koko slot, since Shadow Bone should be able to pick up the knockout that range and just Dragon Dance up, because if Tapu Koko protects, that's, you know, free Dragon Dance for my Salamence. I guess maybe my opponent could Roar, I guess, the Salamence slot and protect Tapu Koko, but that doesn't really gain my opponent too much because Marowak's still a threat. So I don't know what my opponent can really do here, as we're just going to see a Dazzling Gleam. Wonder if Salamence will survive this. Probably not. Actually, it does. Wow, Salamence really clutching in there, as the Tapu Koko going to be taking some Life Orb HP, as we are going to get this Dragon Dance up. In this Dragon Dance, well, it doesn't secure the game if Arcanine has Extreme Speed, but let's see. Flare Blitz is going to come out. I don't think crit will actually knock out my Marowak. I think my opponent needed a double crit there. Yeah, I think my opponent needed a double crit, or maybe even triple. He needed the last flare. He or she needed the last Flare Blitz to crit as well. Shadow Bone will go out to the Tapu Koko that will be able to pick up the knockout. And this is Arcanine versus the world. I have my Snorlax. I have my Marowak, Salamence. You have to E-Speed now for a chance, and I also have Tapu Koko. I think I'm just going to protect Salamence because I do want to see if my opponent has E-Speed. Like, you have to E-Speed if you want any chance to win this game, and I get a free Shadow Bone in Arcanine if that's the case. And if my opponent does have E-Speed, I could just switch out into my Snorlax. So it doesn't look like my opponent does have E-Speed, so I can just Supersonic Sky Strike, I guess, for the win. As Flare Blitz does come out, doesn't really do too much. Shadow Bone should just be able to, you know, destroy this Arcanine. Well, actually, are we intimidated? I think we... I actually can't tell. Physically, its physical defense does fall. No, we're not intimidated, actually. Wow, okay. And Supersonic Sky Strike might KO to protect at +1? Yeah, we're at +1, so I think it actually might just KO to protect here. So I'm just going to go for the Supersonic Sky Strike here. Let's see. As Arcanine is going to protect here, let's see if Supersonic Sky Strike can pick up the knockout onto this Arcanine. Through protect, you're -1 defense, I'm +1 attack. Excuse me, I haven't really been well with my words today. So we're gonna go for a Supersonic Sky Strike come out from my Salamence. This should be able to pick up the knockout, I would imagine. And even if it doesn't, like, if my opponent doesn't have Extreme Speed, I'll still win the game regardless. So Arcanine does go down through protect, and that will be good game. So I don't. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what happened in the battle exactly, because the first few turns are kind of hazy to me. I think it was just... Okay, yeah, playing around the Persian. It was Persian Tapu Fini. I think I could have capitalized more off of belly drumming. I think if I just went for a belly drum turn 1, like, potentially, like, I'm trying to look over plays that could have made me win easier or gave me a better shot of winning than how I played. And yeah, I'm definitely thinking about, like, the first turn right here. Turn 1 where you lead Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini Persian. The fake out into Tapu Koko is probably a very safe move, so you go for fake out. Wasn't really expecting Soak though. But if I went for a Sky Drop and a Belly Drum right there, like, well, even if I just Belly Drummed with Snorlax turn 1, to be honest, because Tapu Koko, I could reset your move if you didn't go for a move because of fake out. But following turn, I could just Sky Drop something, and then, well, actually, is that how it works? No, that's not how it works. Wait, what am I saying? I thought for some reason, like, after Sky Drop, Persian wouldn't be able to move, but that's not the case. But I would have been actually able to knock out the Tapu Fini. For some reason, I thought I would be able to Sky Drop the Persian. Next turn, I would be able to Facade and avoid the foul play because Persian couldn't move. Yeah, that's not how it works, because I'm faster than the Persian. Wow. I am not that bright, but I could have been able to pick up a potential KO or a lot of damage on the Tapu Fini slot slash Arcanine slash pick up the knockout on Tapu Koko. So it might have still put me in a better position. Yet I don't know. I don't feel like it was like too bad for me. Regardless, like, I didn't need to set up with Snorlax because I didn't know what my opponent had to back. If it was Kartana, it could have been troublesome. Like, the Soak to turn 1 caught me off guard, but luckily my opponent was never able to use the Soak because of the fact that Marowak's Lightning Rod ability, like, basically threw out all my opponent's chances of getting an electric type attack onto the Snorlax. So Snorlax was still able to put up work even with the belly jump, even without its normal typing. But actually, being able to resist Flare Blitz too, which is actually pretty cool. So my opponent couldn't do any damage to Snorlax whatsoever. Could only go for the Roar right there. But yeah, I think I just played straightforward. Tried to see what my opponent had. Weakened conditions where it could set up. Like, weakened Game Area Persian was like the first step into putting a game-winning position for Snorlax. If I got rid of Tapu Fini and also weakened the Persian, it was a game-winning position for Marowak, which is why I was playing for those potential win conditions. If I weakened everything on my opponent's team, especially the Arcanine, get rid of the Arcanine, Dazzling Gleam could have potentially swept for the end game, but I don't feel like that was very likely. So yeah, I'm not exactly like, I don't exactly think that was too big of a deal. But you saw how I was trying to put in some different win conditions and trying to adjust depending on how my opponent played, as well as the Pokemon that was brought. But anyway, hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 17 Back-to-Back Battles. If you did, please leave a like down below. It really shows your support, as well as you can check out the side series as well. And my social medias, like my Twitch channel, go give my Twitch channel a follow if you want some streams. As well as feel free to share the video with your friends if you think this video would be good for them, as well as feel free to leave a comment down below. I always love hearing feedback or anything you people have to say. And yeah, the team down below, you can check it out, the QR code, the blog report, and as well as Ralph Dude's Twitter if you haven't already given him a follow yet. But otherwise, I think that's it for me. Hope everyone has a good day, and I'll catch you around in another video.